Kris Attard, you are teaching Bazi, the 4 pillars of destiny. What is Bazi?
Bazi is a very interesting course that comes from essentially an ancient Chinese system. One way to describe it is like an astrology, but without being astrology, in the sense that using the details of a person's date of birth, the time they came into the world, right up to the hour, you can actually read aspects of what can be called destiny. In short, we can, using what's known as the 5 elements theory, we can quite accurately begin to read character traits, strengths and weaknesses, tendencies, probabilities for certain events, big events, small events to occur, and very important, you can even predict luck. That means what we call luck is when we go through a period when things come easy to us, or when we go through a period when we have more conflict in things, they don't come easy to us. We can actually even predict that according to time. So that's essentially what it is.
So as I see it, it can be of good use for people that want to know more about themselves, about their character, but also for people who want to hire people. Is that right?
Yes, actually interesting that you asked that, because although we're unused to the concept in the West, in many Eastern countries, including prominent Eastern countries, especially when you get to the larger businesses, sometimes when they hire executive positions, they even use Bazi, not just the person's qualifications, but the use for a person. First of all, it's a very fascinating study. This is how I got into it. I found it endlessly fascinating, not only in terms of looking at your life and being able to explain certain patterns that fall in your life, but even in terms of actually teaches you a lot of philosophy, if you like, about life. How much of our life is destined, how much free choice we have around that destiny, things like that. But people will find it interesting to understand themselves. Sometimes one can use it to accept better oneself, accept one's strengths, and maybe embrace them better. Because very often in the personal growth work I do in seminars all over the world, I find invariably so many people with so much potential, yet they're trained to think less of themselves. But it can actually help you see, amongst other things, the potential you have, and obviously embrace it better, develop it better.
So what is the main difference between Bazi and astrology?
Okay, it's a good question. Essentially, I describe it as an astrology without astrology. It's an astrology in the sense that that's what it looks like to a person. That is, you have the date of birth, you read certain prevailing circumstances around that time and what they mean to you, the impact they'll have on your life, both now and in times to come. That is the closest it has to astrology. However, interestingly enough, there are no planetary movements or parameters involved. Okay, one can say in Chinese metaphysics, at some point the two will meet, but we don't go into that level. The fact is, all that one needs is what's known as the 5-element theory. By studying the 5-element theory, which is a very common, very well-known aspect of Chinese metaphysics, it's used in Chinese medicine, in a lot of other things as well. By studying that, that's all one needs. One to know how it works, you can begin to understand Bazi very easily.
Mm-hmm. So where can we learn Bazi if we are interested to learn that?
Well, Bazi is actually one of those subjects. There aren't so many courses. Only I was talking yesterday with someone and they say I googled it, I found hardly anything, and it is true. It is such a fascinating art, and yet it's so little known, and this is one of the reasons why I have recently been adding it to the various seminars I teach around the world. Because the same benefit that I got, the same fascination and learning that I got from it, I wish others to be able to have it. So I plan to be giving courses in different countries, including Malta, different countries of Europe, South Africa, the American continent. Other places are possible, and what one should do really is check my website where I publish schedules regularly of where I will be, and as always with any seminar that I teach, should someone not have anything available in their country, they're always free to approach me and see if we can arrange for me to fly in and teach a course in Bazi or any of the other things I teach in their country.
So how long is the Bazi course during?
Now, normally one would say about 3 days. 3 days we can manage the basics of Bazi and have a working use. 3 days might include sending some information ahead so the person can understand more certain concepts and terminology, but my plan is to actually have them, yes, over 3 days. 3 very practical and fascinating days.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.